Hello, Rebels of the Sherpalu. Normally, I start off this podcast by saying hi, but I'm going to start this one off by saying hydration. We know how important hydration is for our bodies. It's the thing that keeps us running, right? You want to be a well-oiled machine. You want to be running efficiently. You know what can help you run efficiently? Liquid IV. It is the category-winning hydration brand fueling your well-being, and their hydration multiplier is the one product that you are missing in your daily routine. It comes in a little stick that's a powder, and in just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. If you use it first thing in the morning, maybe before a workout, when you feel run down, maybe after a long night out and doing a little partying, you know what I mean? And even, what if you have like a long flight or something like that and you just bleh, right? We all feel that way, bleh. So add this to your water, and that convenient packaging can go with you anywhere you go, even if you're going to the gym or you're traveling or you're at work and maybe you didn't have a great breakfast. At least it's something that will fuel you up in the morning. And there's a whole bunch of flavors that are available, like sea berry, strawberry lemonade, Concord grape, lemon lime, pina colada, tropical punch, watermelon, strawberry, passion fruit, guava, acai berry. Did I say that right? I never know how to say that. But those are just some of the flavors. Here's some statistics for you folks. 1 stick of liquid IV in 16 ounces of water contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and even vitamin C. And we all know how important those B vitamins are. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's made with premium ingredients. It's non-GMO, and it is free from gluten, dairy, and soy. I'm going to offer you a great deal, Rebels. If you go to liquidiv.com and use offer code Sherpa, you can get 20% off of anything that you order on that site when you're shopping for some better hydration. So that's Liquid IV. Check it out at liquidiv.com. Podcast that you're listening to is being presented to you in cooperation with the SJ Network. If you're a person who'd like to appear on a podcast, contact Stephen Joyner at s-j-network.com. Let's get on with the show.
Today, in the Sherpa screening room, it's an interview with producer Chip White. Chip has been working in television and film for over 25 years and has won multiple awards for his work.
That's great that they get awards. But I was wondering, if a dentist won an award, would it be a plaque?
Coming to you from Sherpa Chalet in beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's time for entertainment interviews in the Sherpa screening room. Grab an aisle seat and a bucket of popcorn, but don't crunch too loud or you'll miss the show. Now, here's your host, Jim, the podcast Sherpa.
Hello there, Rebels of the Sherpalu. Welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room, a presentation of Too Many Podcasts, and you are listening to me. Yes, me, this guy over here, Jim the Podcast Sherpa. Welcome, if this is your first time having a listen. And I want to ask you something if you remember this. Season 9, Episode 2. Do you remember it? Do you remember it? Do you? Do you? Well, the proper response is yes, Sherpa. I remember it like the back of my hand. And if you don't remember what the back of your hand looks like, I will remind you. Season 9, Episode 2, I interviewed a lady named Christy Crandall, who is the producer of a horror movie that should be coming out soon, or it might be out by now. I'm not sure. I got to find that out. But anyway, I got an email from her not too long ago, and she said, you know what, Sherpa, I have a guest for you that you are going to enjoy. And I reached out to this guest, and you know what? Kudos to Christy Crandall, because, yes, I did enjoy this guest very much. His name is Chip White. He has been a producer in television and films for over 25 years. He's won an Emmy. He's won multiple independent film awards, and he's a super nice guy to talk to, and you're going to hear that in just a moment. So thank you, Christy, and thank you, Chip White. And why don't you have a listen and hear what he has to say, and let's get to know Chip. Hello there, Rebels of the Sherpalu. Welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room, and my guest today is a gentleman with over 25 years in the television and film industry. He is an Emmy Award winner, and over 40 independent film awards as well. He's a producer and a writer, and we're going to get to know him. He is down in Texas. His name is Chip White. Chip, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. I always ask everybody the same kind of question. What is it that drew you to wanting to produce? I mean, you did a little bit of acting, right? But then you were more, I guess you were happy behind the camera?
I love acting. Don't get me wrong. To me, that's the easiest part. You come in, do your deal, you leave, and they come back in a couple months and promote. I'd love to do more, but there's a whole lot of 60-something-year-old silver-headed men already out there. So
that market is getting kind of full, huh?
Yeah. But I was in LA for 20-something years and working in more television. Did a little bit of acting out there, did a little bit of film stuff out there, but it was more television. Took some reality shows on the road, and that's when I moved out of LA as an associate producer. Ended up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and started doing promos at Speed Channel, which was a motorsports network, became Fox Sports 1. I did promos for them for years, and there was this young kid who liked to make movies. You know, he would have a little flip camera and stuff. And he'd make these little shorts, and I think he was actually interning with us at the time. And he goes, "Hey, I shot this Civil War thing, but it was raining, and you can hear it on the umbrella. Will you voice this character for me? Will you redo this guy's voice?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I did. And then he goes, "Will you play Death in this little short?" I'm like, "Okay." And then he goes, "Hey, I want this one about a trash man, and you're going to star in it." Okay. And then he said, "Well, I've got this one about a chess player that I wrote, and I want you to star in it." And I said, "Great, but I want to produce." Just because only being parts of his other ones, I was like, "God, if I'd have known ahead of time, I could have helped you with props and locations, different things on these other ones that might have helped elevate it a little bit or made it easier the day we were shooting." And so when a chess player came about, it's like, "Yeah, but I want to produce." And we sat down and we decided to come up with a really good budget, ended up $25,000 budget. And we started trying to raise the money, did a crowdfunding and ended up getting it made. And then he said, "I've got this one about a luchador." And I said, "Great, I'm in." As a producer. And then he said, "I've got this one called Crab Trap." I said, "I want to play yours." And I've written it for Danny Benson. "Okay, but I'll produce." And then we did this Civil War one called Black Dispatch. And now again, I produced with him on that one. And I like producing. It's very time consuming and it does take a lot of your energy, but I love helping a director see his vision come true, if that makes sense. Sure. It's like, and as a producer, it's like, I don't try to put my vision on it. I will try to enhance the director's vision any way possible. But I like that as it's the writer, director. It's really the director's kind of vision, and we'll work as a team so that can help you get your vision out there.
So your vision, I mean, it becomes part of the project, but it's not the vision for the project itself. It's just the success of the overall project.
Correct. Yeah. It's like, okay, we read the script to look at it and go, okay, like, what are you thinking for location? Who are you thinking for an actor? What kind of budget do we think we want to get? Where do we think we want to shoot? And then helping the director make all that come true. And then it's like, if in a chess player, we learned a lot. That was our first one. We learned a lot. And it was a scene. It was literally a 6-page script that became a 24-page script because we kept getting these great locations and things kept adding up. So we kept adding to it. And there was he goes, "There's a prison scene. I need a brick wall with a chain link fence and some razor wire. And we'll make it like outdoor scene." And I was like, "Yeah, hang on a minute. Let me just see." And I kind of did a little digging around Charlotte at the time. And I knew this little prison, and they weren't using it, but they said we couldn't use it either. They said, "But we have this other one 40 miles away that we're not using." So we went and looked at it. So we ended up getting a real prison. They gave us prisoner uniforms and a mattress for the bed and stuff. And so we ended up we kept just adding on to the script because now we've got this prison. Well, let's utilize everything we can. Let's use the guard tower. Let's use the solitary confinement cells. Let's use the rooms where the families would meet. So we kind of kept expanding the story, and same with other parts of it. And so it was like, what can we do to make it more believable? There was scenes where we had a news anchor interviewing me, my character, and this other guy, and we needed a breaking news. So I went to Maureen O'Boyle, who was with WBTV in Charlotte at the time, which was, I think, an NBC affiliate. They were like, sure. They ended up actually like letting us shoot on set. They helped us. They recorded it. They made this little breaking news for us. So it took it another step up where it was like, here's an actual real news station in Charlotte being part of our story. So anything that can help elevate production value is how I like to look at it.
Are you more comfortable doing like the smaller films, or would you like the opportunity to do like a big movie?
We worked with Shay on a couple of Inspiration Network, INSP films that he wrote and directed as an associate producer on those. I was a producer on Electric Jesus, which is out on Tubi and Apple and Prime and several other PVODs. It's a feature film. It stars Brian Baumgartner from The Office, as Judd Nelson from the 80s. And it was, a little over 2 million. So, I mean, it's a full feature. So, and extremely enjoyed working at most of the time. Was kind of a UPM producer and whatever hands on a feature called Air the Witch. It's a horror film that comes out, I think, next month, October at the latest. They're really close to releasing it. I like working on features. I'd love to do more. To be honest, people send me scripts all the time. They want me to do them, but now I'm like, well, do you have any funding? Well, no, that's what I want you to do. Kind of tired of chasing money, man. You bring me a funded film and I'll help you make an amazing movie. But I do love doing shorts also. I think a really good short is fun if you can tell a really good story in that short amount of time. I've written a short script that I actually probably will try to direct, my first kind of real directing at some point in the near future. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I also have a TV show we're pitching, a reality docuseries that if we get that off the ground, I'll probably host and produce. So we
can talk about that, right? I mean,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
So you had told me it was about restoring a lot of the old vans from the 70s and
yeah. So the working title right now is called Restoration US, Van Nation Restoration USA. We did USA because we could also then go Van Nation Restoration UK, Australia, wherever. You can take it to any country. As a teenager, I loved vans, and one in particular, I don't know if you remember, Coca-Cola did this special van called the Denim Machine. It was a huge contest. I wanted one so bad, man. I personally sent in 150 written entry forms. I didn't win, but I've been fascinated ever since then. And someone reached out to me. Her father won one of the original ones. And I want to restore that one on the show and use that as kind of the catalyst to start it and some of these, 60s, 70s, and 80s shag carpet panel, crazy paint job bands.
As you're telling me this, I was thinking like, well, now in the last couple of years, they've brought back turntables. Maybe you could bring back 8-tracks in the meantime while you're
absolutely
customizing these vans.
Yeah, I think that's the case, man. It's, take some back to the original, take some better. It's a little bit of whatever. I had a 66 T-Bird that had an 8-track player, and I actually had a couple of them I could play when I was riding around back in the 90s in LA.
You just couldn't get the rewind of those things. That was the worst thing.
And you had to stick a matchbook or something there halftime to keep it in, and dragging.
So I know you also worked for like VH1 and Nickelodeon and MTV, and you did some of the tribute shows, right? I love the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and behind the music.
I started, I was with Inside Edition and American Journal and Inside Edition, and a friend, she went over to Nickelodeon. She goes, hey, I've got this little show. Do you want to come work on it? And it was called Snick House. It was Nick Cannon. It was a Saturday night interstitial wraparound around all the cartoons, and it kind of took place at a house. All the kids kind of came and partied, and we would have, pop acts come and sing and stuff. And while doing that, I got to know it was in the same building as VH1 and MTV, so I got to know a lot of those people and ended up going over to do behind the music. Several of those, working on those. In the meantime, I would also get asked to hey, will you go interview so-and-so for I Love the 70s, or I Love the 80s, or I Love the 90s, or will you go cover a red carpet event for us? And Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You must have had some interesting celebrity encounters when you were doing all of that.
Yeah, I did. I got to interview David Lee Roth, who, I still love Diamond Dave. He's awesome. And it's great. Aerosmith. There's so many. It's like I can't even remember because I did so many, and they were just one-offs. It's like I should have written a list of who all they were, but some I can't even remember anymore.
So you won an Emmy. Tell me about your Emmy win, and how did you feel when the day that
it was on for Jeopardy with the Clue Crew. I would go on the road. The first year they did the Clue Crew, I went out on the road with them on several occasions, and as winning an Emmy was part of a team, part of the Clue Crew team. It wasn't like me specifically, but it counts.
Sure. And I guess you got it in like the. Was it on like the daytime Emmys, or you got it for the?
It was a daytime. I think all that and Will. I think both of those are still just daytime Emmys, even though they're nighttime shows. Well, they're not quite prime time, so. But yeah, it was. I love doing those. Those were fun too.
You've done such a wide variety of genres. I mean, between like the different types of shows that you did on TV and the different types of movies that you've done as well. Do you have a particular favorite? Is there anything that really stands out in your mind in your career?
No, I mean, I worked on American Chopper. I did Southern Steel, Firehouse USA. The movies I've done, I really enjoyed. I think I like working, and I like seeing a good product at the end. I don't have anything that's my favorite. That I can think of.
Okay. So it's a project. Each project is a new challenge for you, whether or not you've done it like one time or 20 times then.
Yeah. And it's been like you said, a strangely varied career where a lot of times I'll apply for a corporate job somewhere with an entertainment company. Like, we don't know what to do with you because you're so broad, but you haven't sat behind a desk in this position. I'm like, yeah, but I've done everything on that list multiple times, except sat behind the desk. I'm like, well, doesn't count, So it's been wonderful and hindering at the same time, if that makes sense. As far as landing a full-time producer job at a studio or something. But
I can understand. I guess it's as opposed to being known as the horror movie producer or something like that, where you've dipped your toe into so much water, that
it is hard. I mean, some drama shorts that have comedy in them. Electric Jesus has a lot of comedy in it. It's also a music movie, a rock and roll coming of age. And I've done horror with Air of the Witch, and I've acted in a horror film, Goodman, where I played the devil. And I played death. I mean, it's kind of there's this. I played a trash man. I've played an angry customer at a drugstore before. It's and I played the world's greatest chess player in a chess player.
What's A Twistful of Dollars about? I think that's one of your newer
Twistful of Dollars. That is it. It started pre-COVID, and Kevin, who amazing guy in Charlotte, he pitched me this idea. It's kind of a duel of kind of a Western style duel, but it takes place at a kids' party between balloon twisters, trying to outdo each other.
Okay.
And it's he just finished it. He just did a private screening. I started pretty heavy on it, and then COVID hit, and I kind of backed off. And after COVID, when he really kind of started getting back up again, I was very honest and said, Kevin, I've lost motivation, man. I mean, he still gives me credit because I was involved in the very beginning of it, but I didn't do a lot towards the end. And I don't know if that sounds fair as far as credit, but I think I haven't seen the whole thing, but clips I've seen, I think they're awesome. I love the idea of it. I wish that I'd have been more involved all the way through. COVID took the sail out, the wind out of my sail for a long time.
Yeah.
It really kind of, I don't know, man. It's just like everything just kind of went blah for me. That's what I'm trying. And now I'm like trying to get motivated again to really, now I'm in Texas, I've got several scripts that I'm looking to work on. There's one called Star Max Laundry with Gunnar Willis. He wants to direct it. It's a sci-fi horror, takes place at Y2K on New Year's Eve, and trying to raise $500,000 for that. There's another one called The Grove that is a Texas coming of age high school film. I'd love to probably raise $800,000 to $1 million and do them both back to back, shoot them both in the same town back to back. So I'm in the process of trying to find some money for that. So if you want to invest, let me know.
I'm going back to what you said about COVID, though. That's been really a recurring theme with a lot of the actors and directors and the producers that I've gotten to talk to, where I guess you kind of get so much momentum going, and then all of a sudden everything just comes to a standstill.
I kind of lost momentum, and then friend, she got on Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, the new Judy Blume. It's the James Brooks film that's coming out, I think, April 28th, actually. She said, could you come help me on the art department? Okay. So I went and PA'd on that movie in the art department, got to see a whole different, actually like making some props and art stuff on the wall. Like I watched the trailer, hey, I did that. Hey, I did that. Hey, I made that. So that was kind of an interesting, fun, different aspect of my career too. It's like, okay, now I know how to work in an art department if I need to. And it also gave me ideas for my film. Like, hey, you know what? If I can do that to save money, or I can do this instead of needing, a cell door, I can actually take a picture of one and print it and put it on the wall where it looks like a door. Like, it just did some crazy things in the art department that helped with a period piece.
What's one thing about being a producer that probably a lot of people don't get? You
wear a lot of hats. You're involved anywhere from years to months to weeks pre-production. I'm a hands-on producer, so I'm usually on set. I may not be there all the time, but I'm on set or working for the next day, every day. And then for months to years afterwards, you're still involved. I mean, you still got to go through post. You have to go through distribution. You have to go through promotion, film festivals, whatever it takes. So for years, you're still promoting. I'm still promoting shorts that I did 6 years ago sometimes. It's kind of it's not a cut and dry where an actor can come in, rehearse, shoot their scenes, leave, and then 6 months later, the producer will call and go, hey, we need you to come to a screening or a red carpet event. And then they come back and they promote for a couple of months, and then they're still done. Producer is like, you're there from beginning way past the end.
So you're taking it home with you from the get-go until well after it's done.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, you're in the process of trying to do the next one at the same time and try to get the next one rolling. Or it's going at the same time. You might be bouncing between two projects at the same time or more, depending on how successful you are. Taylor Sheridan, that guy, I don't know how he does it, man. He's working on everything.
Do you have your own little trick tip for multitasking like that when you've got big projects going on simultaneously, or you just kind of go with it?
I go with it. I'll put a board up, like a whiteboard, and try to make a list of what needs to be done and cross-check them and give myself enough time on each one to try to get them done. But just always keeping on it. And the biggest thing is hiring the right people. I can't do it all myself, and no producer can. So it's getting the right team and trusting them to do their job. It's like, I don't stand behind the director and tell him how to direct. I don't stand behind the actor and tell them how to act. I don't stand behind the art person and say, do this. It's, I hired you because I trust you. And we've had an agreement when you started that you would give me everything I need in your job. I have 4 rules as a producer that I explained to the director, the DP, everyone that's involved, is that I will do everything in my power as the producer to make sure we have the money and everything else for you to do your job. But I need 4 things from you. I want it to look, sound, and feel like a movie. I don't care if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. I do not want to walk away with a really nice video. I don't want my friends going, oh, that was nice. Yeah, thank you. I want them to go, oh my God, that was amazing. I felt like I was there. I wanted more. And if you can give me that, then you're hired and we will work great together.
And that's got to keep people on their toes too, knowing that, if that's your biggest expectation of them, that, that they've got to hold up their end of the bargain as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What can you do to make it better? It's okay. We're shooting a scene where the person's supposed to be extremely wealthy and someone goes, oh, I've got this house. And you go look at it and go, it's a nice house, but it's not an extremely wealthy person's house. Help me find a mansion, help me find the Ferrari, help me find the Mercedes or the Rolls Royce, or help me find that location that's the scariest thing. Yeah, that's the woods behind your house are good, but they're not scary. Let's go find this other place. Anything to elevate production value.
Yeah. So even at the beginning of our conversation, you were talking about vision. You really almost have to kind of go above and beyond the director's vision sometimes, I would imagine, to say, well, yeah, this is good, but let's let's take it a notch up, which is going to make it really great and then make everything pop on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to sit in a movie and go and be watching it and then something catch my eye and go, that could have been better. Or that's not a rich person's house, or that's not a scary place, or that's not a prison, or that's not an office. That's, someone's bedroom with a desk in it, and they're trying to pretend it's an office. Keep me focused in the film, keep my mind there in the story, and don't let me wander. And it's crazy now. So many people do it, but it drives me nuts is when someone picks up a to-go cup of coffee in a film and the cup is empty, you move different, you hold it different. When they set it down, it's got that hollow sound.
Right.
I know it's dangerous, but put some warm coffee in it at least, not hot, but because you will hold a cup of hot coffee different when you're talking to someone than you will an empty cup. Same with anything like that. Anything that's going to not seem real, unless it's supposed to be a parody or something, I get it.
Right. That's so funny. I mean, up until the point when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's right. It would work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you watch so many people in movies that have a to-go cup of coffee in their hand and they're acting, they almost forget they're holding that coffee. So they move their hands like that would be splashing hot coffee.
Right.
You hold a cup of hot coffee different than you do an empty cup.
And then I know, I work with somebody who worked in continuity as well. Mm-hmm. And she said even like there was a movie that she did where there was ice cream involved and, they were cutting, reshooting a lot. And, they had to make sure that the ice cream was at the right level and that, those points in conversation. I'm the same way with that. So my wife hates watching a movie with me because I'll go, that cup was half full a minute ago, or that was over there, or, that was, continuity is big with me also. That's something else kind of falls in that same genre of don't take me out of the story, In podcasting, I've spoken to people who just feel like, oh, I just record it as it happens. But I'm thinking like, there's got to be something said for polishing things up and doing some editing, because I wouldn't enjoy a movie if you see like the boom mic in the background the whole time and some guy holding a cue card. It just takes away from the whole process. And you're saying, as a producer, this is your thing. You've got to have that sharp eye to say, wait a minute, this isn't looking right. Yeah, and sound is tremendous in film. So many people overlook sound. That's especially a young filmmaker or someone who's just starting out. Oh, I've got a mic, I've got a boom guy. It's like spend the money, because I can watch a bad movie with good sound and get through it. I can't watch a good movie with bad sound. Yeah. And it's the same with a podcast. I can't listen to a podcast that's got bad sound or just, like you're saying, kind of goes on. It's not polished. There's not some edits at some point. There's, a good podcast is because I'm in a story. If I'm listening to a podcast, my mind is making a movie of what I'm listening to, or at least I'm there. And if it's taking me out of it, then I might hit the button and go to the next one. And as I'm piecing this together while you're telling me these stories, you'd probably make a great podcast producer, because you have that eye for detail, and and especially with sound, that's the whole medium. It's people have to use their imagination when they're hearing these audio dramas and stuff like that. That's what really drags people in and makes them want to listen. Not with a cheesy sound effect that you've probably heard on 3,000 other podcasts. Yeah, I have my best friend's an audio engineer in Atlanta, and he's meticulous. I mean, so he's always pointing stuff out. Even in films that I've done, he goes, if you'd have done this, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you were busy. So it's just like, give me good sound. I guess I can't let you go without bringing up one little thing. You actually worked with your sister once in, we should say who your sister is, actually. My sister is Vanna White. Yeah. And I first moved out to LA, and I worked with her when she had just gotten Wheel. She'd been on a couple of years, and I worked with her, and then I've been fortunate. She's been very supportive of what I've done. Now, she didn't jump right in and go, hey, here's a blank check. She's never done that. But once she saw some of the work we had done, Shay and I had done, she's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll give you some seed money for that short, or I'll help you on the back end of that. She's been very supportive. She has flown in from LA for a red carpet screening event that I've done for several shorts. It's crazy. She's super supportive. I was thinking if you tell her, hey, I had a conversation with a podcast Sherpa today, she's going to be like, Chip, did somebody hit you in the head or something like that?
No, she'll actually probably listen once it airs.
I hope she does. She can come on the show if she wants to, too.
Okay.
I won't make her spell anything or anything like that, I promise.
No, she's a sweetheart.
If people want to see some of your work, is there like a website or anything like that where they can check your work out?
I'm trying to think what's on my website because we've been kind of trying to shut the company down since we've moved. They can reach me at chipwhite.film@gmail.com. I'll send links to some things that I have links for. Mm-hmm. Twistful of Dollars will be out soon. I'm not sure where they're going to promote it. I know that Electric Jesus is on Tubi, it's on Prime, it's on Apple, it's on several pay-per-view platforms. Air the Witch, I'm not sure where it's going to air when it comes out. INSP Films, I think you can go back onto their website and actually see County Line and Heritage Falls. I had a small part in, I think it was called The Warrant. I played a guy, and every time I went to speak, the guy cut me off. They didn't want to pay me to speak, so they just the guy cut me off every time.
Oh, no.
I was like, wait, you cut my lines? Yeah, well, it's funnier this way. Then I realized, wait, you didn't want to pay me as a speaking part.
That sounds like what would be my Hollywood debut.
Yeah,
just show up and just get cut off and don't say anything.
Yeah.
His name is Chip White, and I want to thank you so much for swinging by and giving us a little insight on all the work that you do. Congratulations to all that you've done, and best wishes on all your upcoming stuff. Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and reach out anytime. I'm pretty flexible on my time. I'm always happy to talk about making films, and when I get Star Max Theater up or any of the others or the Band Nation, we'll be back. Yeah, and if you got any new releases, let me know, and we can share it on my social media as well. Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Chip. Well, Jim, thank you.
We're on that internet thingy at Sherpalution.com.
A very special thanks to Mr. Chip White for hanging out here at the Sherpa Screening Room, and we will keep an eye on some of his upcoming projects. And as he mentioned, he had a part to play in the upcoming movie, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That's his handiwork that you'll see up there. And there is so much more that he's created that I'm sure you will enjoy. So he's got some new stuff. We will post it on our social media, which is Sherpalution, of course, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And, it's interesting that people come up to me, and some people enjoy the Sherpa Screening Room episodes more. Some people enjoy the Too Many Podcast episodes more. And I'm just concerned that you enjoy something. That's fine. You can have your preferences, just as we all do. But if you could, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a nice review, and you can enter yourself by doing so into the 100 Review Challenge. I am looking for 100 reviews, positive ones, please, on Apple Podcasts, and those who leave a review will be entered automatically, no cost to you, into winning some swag from the Sherpa shop. You could win a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or maybe even a onesie. If I'm too big for a onesie, I think. If I get a special one, maybe not. I don't know. But you can win all sorts of fun stuff, even coffee cups and phone cases or whatever else. And we've got a lot of interesting designs at the site if you want to check that out. And you can check that out at Sherpalution.com, where you can also hear every episode of this podcast. And you can also hear every episode of this podcast on podcast apps everywhere, near and far. So please do that and enjoy the episodes. And if you can, spread the word around about the Sherpalution. I'm sure there's somebody that you like that might want to hear this as well. So I guess that will do it for me this week. Me and Mr. Bruce will be out of here, and we will be getting ready for our next episode, and we hope to see you here. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, Viva la Sherpalution. Hey, if I say Viva la Vanna White, you think she'll come on the show? Well, stay tuned, Rebels. Stay tuned. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa Screening Room. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. I'm Mr. Bruce, and this has been a Sherpalu Studios production. Viva la Sherpalution!
You know, Rebels, if you've been checking out some of my promotional ads on social media, you'll be aware that I have been using a lot of AI programs to help me create ads. But you know what? There's a lot more uses for AI than just funny little videos. And I'd like to introduce one of our new sponsors, Podimo. It is a leader in creating AI tools for podcasters. Now, let's say you've got a podcast, or maybe you're even thinking of doing a podcast. You're probably wondering, well, how can AI be integrated with your workflow? I'll tell you about Podimo. As a podcaster, you know that writing show notes and creating chapters and transcribing episodes takes a lot of time, and it can cost you a lot of money too. But you know what? That's where Podimo comes in. It's an AI tool designed specifically for creators and podcasters with the goal of making post-production tasks quick and easy. And in just a few minutes, Podimo generates show notes, chapters, summaries, clips for social media, a full transcript, suggested episode titles, social media posts, and more. Whew, that's a lot of work for one little program. Your show notes are key to your podcast's success because it helps new listeners find your podcast and they'll know if it's a fit for them. You know, kind of like too many podcasts. It also improves your SEO, that's your search engine optimization. Ooh, big phrase there. And overall accessibility. And with Podimo, you can focus on creating a great podcast and let Podimo's AI do the heavy lifting. But Podimo isn't just for solo creators and podcasters. It's a game changer for editors, producers, marketers, agencies, and production studios. Teams that use Podimo are able to increase workloads, decrease turnaround times, and improve their quality. How does it work? Very easy. First, go to Podimo's website, and you'll see that link that's right there in the show notes. You get 3 hours free just to try it. Pretty cool, huh? And using that link also supports this show as well. And you know what else happens? Because I'm a good guy. You use my link, you will get 50% off for your first month. So visit the site, upload an MP3 file, and download your files, and that's it. And if you need anything else, you can use Podimo GPT to generate articles and any marketing copy you might need in seconds. Instant show notes, transcripts, chapters for your podcast or channel. This will level up that podcast. So check out Podimo today.